Hello, magic makers. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aries is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this reading is for you. A transmission through the Serpent Gate, a page in the Codex, and perhaps a message you were meant to remember. But before we begin, please light the fire and hit the like button. Every like you leave is a torch lit along the spiral road. Every comment is a sigil etched into the vault of echoes. And if this message resonates, consider subscribing and joining our journey through the temple. If there is anything you wish for me to hold in light or carry into the temple with you, a prayer, a protection, an intention, speak it below. Now, these readings are not predictions, they are transmissions, and I am merely the messenger. The meaning is yours to uncover. So open the temple within and listen for what echoes back, because the most important part of any tarot reading is you. 2 of Wands. This is kind of like an Aries power card. I think you're somebody with no hesitation. You're taking bold action with no regrets. You are taking control of the situation. This is, in a way, it's kind of a crossroads moment for you. I feel like there's somebody that you might be butting heads with. There might be someone or something that you're having a conflict with, or some friction, or there's some pushback. Kind of feel with the 2 of Wands that there are 2 forces pushing against each other. And it's that moment that's going to kind of determine the next cycle for you. Okay, so I feel like this is kind of a crossroads, kind of a turning point. I feel like it's a major shift that either this person is going to push you, or you're going to push, forward, and you're going to get through to the other side of this. Okay, so I don't know if this is something has to do with business, if it has something to do with family, or it could be like a work thing that's going on. But I feel like there's somebody that kind of has. I feel like they're kind of equal to you. Okay, so it's somebody that's probably about your age, or they have like the same kind of position that you have. It's almost like they have just as much authority as you do. Okay, because this is kind of two forces that are equally matched sometimes, yeah. But I feel like you're not allowing this energy to dominate you. You're not going to let anybody else kind of get the best of you right now. Okay, you're pushing back against whatever this is, yeah. I think there was a time in your life where maybe you shied away from conflict. Okay? I don't feel like you like conflict. I don't think anybody really likes it. Maybe some people do. You don't like it. Okay? But if it's there, if somebody brings it to your doorstep, well, you're going to respond. And this, I think, is you responding. I always feel like this is you saying no to somebody. This is your first card. It's the station card. This is where you are right now. This is your current position on the spiral road. Okay? And I feel like this is kind of a roadblock. And it's either somebody's telling you, no, you can't pass, okay? Or I think, it might involve you really having to stand up and say no to some other energy that's trying to block your path or interfere with you. Okay? Let's put this into a little bit of context, and let's see what shift is taking place. There we have the Queen of Pentacles. There might be a Virgo person in your life. Here we have the Death card. We have the Fool card. We have an 8 of Wands. We have an Aeon card. That is the big shift. This is a doorway. I do feel like there might be an older female energy in your life that's kind of blocking your passageway, or that seems like they're blocking a decision that you need to make to go forward. Okay? Over here we have the 6 of Cups. Interesting. We have a Magician. I like that. We have, a Knight of Wands, and that is actually your superpower card. What we have with the 2 of Wands is Mars in Aries, right? So a real fight, a real like, I'm strong and I'm not going to let this happen kind of thing, okay? Sometimes the 2 of Wands is a big red X, like a big stop sign. Yeah. And I think it just is indicating a conflict with this older female. They may be an earth sign, they may be a Virgo person, but I think an older female is the more particular energy that I'm getting. Finally, we have a Knight of Pentacles. Look at that. So the court cards, are interesting because they sometimes represent other people. They sometimes represent aspects of you. Okay, sometimes both. Okay, so I think that we have two of these Pentacle court cards, and I think this one by itself represents another person, yes. But it also represents kind of your energy looking back to the past and then looking forward to the future. Okay? So this is a turning point. This is the turning point where the past becomes the past and the future is ready to be built. Okay? The Knight looking out over the land and thinking, okay, this is my journey, this is what I'm going to build, this is what this is the work that I have in front of me. Where the Queen is kind of looking at all the work that's behind you, or all the long, twisty, windy road that you've taken to get where you are right now. It's almost, in a way, reflecting on the past to see if you took a wrong turn, and that's why you're getting the big red X. Okay? So when we talk about the court cards, we're going to keep in mind that it may represent this other person that's involved, but it's also kind of an energy that it's part of your personality too. Okay. Let's draw the hidden key from the codex. Yeah, the unseen cipher, the one truth yet unrevealed. This is a card pulled at random, a fragment of the codex beyond the known spread. It represents the factor infinite and unknown, what the watchers have not yet allowed us to see. And we're going to put it right over here with big red ant right on top. We're not going to look at that hidden key until the end of the transmission. But when we do, it will bring all the threads together and it will confirm the prophecy. And it'll close the current page of the codex. If you feel the pulse of intuition, if the dove current is whispering to you, tell me what you sense. Leave a comment. What do you think? The hidden key will reveal. Now, as we look around the room, we see major, 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 major. So you are divinely supported. Okay, I like it when we have this sort of, it's like a bassinet of major arcana energies. This is telling me that Spirit is holding you in its hands right now. Okay, you are divinely supported and you are being divinely guided right now. Okay, there is a blockage, however. And that blockage is involving this older female energy. I think with the Eight of Wands here, it's kind of about you having some creative ideas and finding creative problem-solving solutions, right? I don't feel that this is something that needs to be just brute force. You don't just need to push and keep pushing against them because, like I said with the Two of Wands, it feels like it's equal force. It's two people and maybe it's at work or something. Maybe this is at home. Maybe it's a family member. When two forces are equal and they're pushing against each other, no one's really going to win. It's kind of a stalemate situation for you. So the Eight of Wands is talking about these creative solutions. We got to find a clever detour kind of thing. Okay? So you have the Fool card and the Transformation card. I think that in a way you are evolving and growing through this situation. I almost feel like whatever the drama, and I don't know the drama here, I think it's really just like that they want to be in control, okay? But I think that you're kind of growing past that person. Do you know what I mean? Feels like you're evolving beyond their concerns, The Death card, of course, a card of transformation, a card of letting go, a card of slow change. Okay. The Eon being a card of choice, a doorway that you have to pass through. It is a portal that's going to lead to, I think, a much different future for you. Okay. I kind of getting a vibe here that there's something that you need to finish because something's been left hanging. It's like there's some kind of a closure that needs to be done. It's almost like you have to, I don't know, it's like you're right in face-to-face with somebody and it's a conflict. I almost feel like this is you, instead of fighting and engaging with that person face-to-face, I feel like you're just like going around them and continuing your journey, not engaging with them. not letting, and that I think really like takes away their power. It's almost like they're kind of shocked, like, wow, like that wasn't what they expected. They expected you to just either kind of submit or to protest or something like that, but you just kind of like looked at them, and then you're just going to walk. You're just going to walk by them, walk past and around. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they don't have the power over you that they thought they did. I feel like they see you as somebody who is going to do whatever it takes to make things okay, to keep the peace. Like you're somebody who is going to who is going to submit, okay, just to kind of keep the harmony. But I don't think you're doing that, nor are you, I think, creating, having some major reaction and having this big kind of blow up, I feel like you're finding a clever and creative way to go around the person, if that makes sense. Yeah. So anyway, we got our majors. You got the Magician, of course. You got fire, a little bit of water over here. Interesting thing is we don't have any air cards, except for the Fool is pure air, right? The Fool is like directionless air, okay? And then, of course, we have our Earth and our Earth, okay? The sort of the Queen looking at the past, the Knight looking at the future. And I kind of am wondering about this Fool because it almost is the feeling that you kind of stumbled into something here that you didn't really intend to stumble into. The Fool being the wanderer and just kind of the feather in the wind, It's almost as if you got yourself into a situation that you didn't really intend. You don't really, maybe you're kind of looking back at the past and thinking, I don't really know how I got here. But the reality is you're here, okay? And I think that in some ways, because this is card 4, the position 4, the chain, okay? This is in the past. It is the story. It is the karmic weight, okay? And it's binding you. And it kind of is almost like we're looking at our past self and thinking, boy, I was a fool to get involved in this situation the way I did. I must have been a fool to not see this coming. Or I must have been a fool to think that this was an ally, or this was a friend, or this was, this was somebody I could trust, etc. And I think that's something that kind of needs to be let go of. Is that sort of blaming ourselves or something like this? Yeah, because the Queen looking at the past is not dealing with the present. And in the present moment, what you have, of course, is that station card. This is the conflict that you're involved with right now. Everything unfolds from here. It doesn't really matter what happened in the past. That's something that needs to be transcended and let go of as well. Okay. Now, card 2 is the battle position. This is the force that's pressing against you. This is a Virgo energy. This is the challenge, the test. Okay. Do you resist this? Or do you submit to this? Or do you sort of go around this, And I feel like in your case, this is actually a person. Maybe somebody at work that's causing issues or that's kind of blocking your way. Or it's somebody at home that is kind of, maybe coming in and maybe even making you feel like you're not doing enough or you're not good enough, or maybe literally like trying to make you look like a fool, trying to make it seem as if you don't know what you're doing. Like somebody that comes in and says, oh, you're not doing that right. Here, let me do it. Almost like you're not capable of doing something the proper way. Is that kind of making sense? And I don't know who this person is. It could be a family member. But this is the battle. This is the kind of the force that you're up against. Okay, and I don't think it's really going to work for you to just push back. Now, the interesting thing is that we have no swords cards here. I feel like this is a very passive-aggressive person. And you let me know in the comments if this is ringing a bell, okay? Because it feels like there's no communication. There's probably not even a lot of words being spoken. It just seems like it's kind of backroom, kind of underhanded, undermining you perhaps, but it doesn't feel like it's exactly, it's not so overt, okay? And it may just simply mean that there's a lot of, passive aggression going on here. And it makes sense that you kind of are feeling aggressive, that you're kind of saying, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. But you can't be the one to start acting aggressively, right? Because that's going to be some fuel that they can say, well, look how that person's behaving, okay? Underneath the surface, your soul position, this is the cry beneath the silence. This is what your soul knows, even if you aren't consciously aware of it. And it's change. It is moving on. It is kind of a way of saying that this thing has been dead for a long time. Get rid of it. Okay? Whatever this is in your life, whoever this person is or whatever the situation is, feels like your soul has been trying to tell you for a long time that, hey, this thing's been in the fridge. It's expired. It's stinky. You got to get it out of here. You got to get it out of the fridge. I don't know, maybe you got some cottage cheese in there or something. It's time. It's overdue for you to move forward. It's overdue for you to move on. And maybe it's a friend that every time you see them, it's just always like the same thing. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's somebody at work. Maybe it's just the job all together as a whole. Okay? And maybe this is that family member that it's just kind of every time you see them, it is a conflict. It is a problem. There's something always going on there. And I don't think there's really anything to talk about necessarily. I kind of feel like you've already done that. You've already tried to work it out. And so now it's just a matter of realizing that you're fundamentally, maybe you're too similar. If you're both, aces of wands here, right? And you're clashing. Okay, maybe you both, this town's not big enough for the both of us kind of vibe going on here. Okay? And the Death card is really saying, like, let's get a move on. This has been something that's been trying to change for a long time, but it's been dragging on. Slow and steady. Something's been building up, and like, I feel like now there's no way to continue without it leading to some major, like, blow up. Okay? And maybe that's part of our Eight of Wands up there too, is, the Death card is slow, steady change over the course of time. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay? And of course, the Eight of Wands is this feeling inside of us that we just want to burst. I just can't take it anymore. I'm done. I'm just going to blow, right? And then we get a tower moment. Hopefully that's not the mystery card. So the Death card is kind of saying that there might not have been any one thing that they did that was so bad, but like it's a lot of little things that keep building up. Maybe it's a romantic partner, maybe it's a relative, maybe it's a friend, so-called friend, maybe it's a coworker, okay, whoever it is, or whatever it is, we don't want to look for someone to blame here, okay. I feel like your tension and your frustration, because I'm not reading that, I don't know them, I'm not reading their energy, I'm reading yours. And your energy has been like two fists that have been pushing together for a long time. Okay? And I think it didn't start out that way. But I think it's just slowly, over time, more and more things started happening until there's so much pressure that it does not feel good. Okay? You probably have in your temples, you probably have tension in here, or in your jaw, in your neck. I feel like from the neck up, you're like really tense. Okay? Your eyelids are like flexing. The Death card is showing that it's not any one thing that we can really say, it's because they did that. Or that was the situation that's what I'm so upset about. I feel like it's just a lot of little things. Something's just been building up over time until now it's just saying, I'm frustrated and I can't take it anymore. Okay? I can't take it anymore. The Death card is that card of moving on, right? It's that card of saying, to be able to realize when something's no longer fit for consumption, we got to get it out. We got to move past it. We don't have to keep feeding ourselves on that energy. It feels like a real conflict energy right now. It feels like a lot of tension. and tell me in the comments if I'm right about either the neck or the temples being very, or the jaw being very tense. Yeah? And maybe even your eyelid. Does your eyelid ever twitch? I feel like that's been happening lately. Okay? And I don't feel like there's really anybody for you to talk to or tell about this. I think it's something that maybe you've tried already to communicate and somebody just says, well, it's not that big of a deal, or they just try to minimize it or downsize it. Okay? The Fool in the background, of course, is the chain. This is the old story, okay? And I kind of wonder if this person is making you feel like a child, or in that passive-aggressive way, making you feel inadequate or ignorant or incapable of whatever it is that the two of you are sort of around each other to do, okay? And I don't know if this is a work thing or it's a family thing, but like somebody that's kind of maybe like not putting you down all the time, but kind of in a way like making you feel smaller by either little comments or like, oh, I'll do that because they don't know how. And it's just like these little things, but it's not anything that I think you like, you can go to HR and say, well, they did this and I don't like that. And, I think it's just a lot of little things like that for some reason you're not able to just let them go anymore. I think there was a time where you kind of says, oh, well, that's just the Queen of Pentacles. That's just how they are. And maybe you even laughed about it. Maybe you even thought that they were being friendly or flirtatious or something. But no, I feel like now it's really difficult for you not to take offense and not to take it personally. Yeah. So the Fool really might be the one that doesn't realize when people are being mean to them, And I kind of think of like, I see this sometimes, and it really breaks my heart with parents and their kids, where the parents will be kind of like, in a way, like talking smack about the kids, but the kids are so young and naive that they don't really realize, maybe they do, I don't know, I'm assuming, they don't really realize that the parents are kind of like putting them down, like to the other parents or something. And the kids just kind of smile and they think it's fun or something like that. But I don't know, maybe it's just because of my upbringing, that I really notice that and I don't like that. And I kind of feel there's something like that going on here. It could be, we could be talking about a parent or a guardian or a grandparent or something like that. But that dynamic, it kind of makes you feel as if you're not really in the room. It's almost in a way like when the parents talk about the kid to other people and the kid's standing right next to them. And it kind of like, it's almost like the kid's invisible. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but that sometimes is the Fool energy, this feeling I'm not really here. Okay? And maybe this person kind of, through whatever form this is taking, they treat you like you're not there, or treat you like you're not a presence in the room, or treat you like you don't have anything of value or any power over anything. Because what we have here is fire and earth, right? That spiritual electrical circuit of creation. And I don't want to make this all about the drama, okay? But it seems like the conflict is that this person, or somebody anyway, something, is making you feel like you don't have any power to actually do anything. It's just like, you couldn't pour a glass of water. You know what I mean? Like you don't have any effect on the physical environment. And think about how that might make somebody feel. It's almost like you're a ghost, And so I think that there's something like that going on. And I don't know exactly what the conflict is or where this is taking place. I know that you're trying to manifest your best life, okay? And let's bring this back to the magic maker here. We do have the magician. I want you to claim your role as a magic maker because you're trying to accomplish something. You're trying to get somewhere. You're trying to get on down the road and build your best life and get to your Emerald City, as we all are. You're trying to travel your yellow brick road, your spiral road to the Emerald City. This person seems like they're getting in your way, or something, even if this maybe isn't a person, something is getting in your way That's making you feel like you're trying to, it's like you're a ghost. It's like suddenly you've dematerialized. You're trying to have an effect on your physical environment, but your hand just like goes right through you're trying to pick up something and your hand just goes right through it. And you're saying, what the heck? That's the feeling that I'm getting. And so something is interfering with your ability to cause change in accordance with your will. Somebody's blocking your magic. Okay, maybe an astral attack, as they call it. Okay, we may be in need of a little psychic self-defense. The Eight of Wands up top, this is the Giant. This is your untapped power. This is that guardian sleeping within, okay? This is not who you've been, but this is who you are sort of becoming. And this is Mercury in Sagittarius. This is you finding creative solutions to this problem. Finding a way to circumvent whatever this blockage is. I don't feel like you're going through it and you're not turning away from it. I feel like you're going above or under or around it. Okay. Shout out to 21 Pilots. Their new album is out. Let me know what you think. Breach, I think it's called, yeah. This is, again, creative problem solving. Okay. The Mercury energy here, the magician, this is Mercury, the magician, right? Magic maker energy. And of course, we have that Sagittarius, vibe here, Mercury in Sagittarius. So it really is kind of an anxiety that we feel now because, yeah, we're being blocked. And it feels like we're kind of panicking because nothing we're doing is working. And so I think that we have to really reach within and find some different tools. This isn't just about getting the hammer. This isn't just about brute force and trying to force our way through the brick wall. We've got to get clever here. Do we have a grappling hook? Can we climb over the wall? Do we got a ladder? I'm reminded of that. What is it, Captain Caveman, right? That cartoon where he just pulled out whatever he needed from his big beard. He would just have, he needed a ladder, here's a ladder. And so I feel like that's what we got to do right now, even though this situation makes you want to be a hammer. And, well, Aries, you're good at being a hammer. But Spirit's saying no hammers right now. Something else, okay? A more clever, a more subtle strategy than just exploding. This is pressure coming from inside of you, okay? And, again, this card is kind of like, to me, it feels like you're kind of a... You're kind of like a MacGyver, and I'm bringing in a lot of really old, I'm dating myself here with all these old archetypes, but it's the Captain Caveman, it's the MacGyver energy that I'm feeling here, right? It's kind of on the fly, real time, figuring out a way to take this bubble gum and this toothpick and somehow, create like a flying car. That's kind of that's the energy that you're turning into, that you're transforming into right now, is that MacGyver energy. Okay? Because this situation may seem very straightforward. That's, well, okay, someone's in your way, knock them down. It's not like that. Okay? This is something that's more, it's a little bit more tricky than that because you can't just brute force your way through. Okay? It's almost like you kind of need the patience and the strategy to slowly get around this situation rather than just trying to run forward and break the wall down. Okay? In the future position, of course, the imago, the image of your becoming, your higher self, your ideal form, is making the difficult decision going through the doorway of fire and leaving the nonsense behind you. This is a divine doorway. We're going to do an oracle card. I feel like this is literally you walking away from that conflict because I think walking away is overdue. Okay, could be that you've been procrastinating on this 9-9 portal energy, and this is the ending that you need to finally make. Offerings. Abundance lies in the heart that allows. Share more than expected and see love come around. Okay, abundance lies in the heart that allows. Okay, having that open heart, that compassion. Okay, having that compassion. Well, maybe that's kind of what we're doing, what we're getting over here. Okay? The abundant heart. The heart that allows, yeah? But this is an interesting one to me, because I kind of feel like this is something that you've already been trying with this person. Okay? And because I kind of already had that feeling that they expect you just to submit. They expect you to tolerate it, to put up with it. They feel like a bully. They feel like a really big bully. And the Six of Cups over here is kind of saying that, you know, you in the past have kind of not responded to it, or you've sort of you've just endured it. You've taken it. You've allowed, right? The heart that allows, giving them the benefit of the doubt, showing compassion to them. Okay? And I think you have done that. And so the offerings, I think you've made the offerings. You've tried to keep the peace. Maybe you have, like, you know, you've tried to get them with kindness. You know what I mean? I think that you've tried to be very compassionate and very loving and very forgiving and very accepting, very inclusive, very tolerant. And now I feel like you're saying no more. No more. The eon is that doorway. It's the judgment. It's the wake-up call. This is the spiritual alarm clock. This is spirit, the angel blowing the trumpet in your face, saying, wake up. Okay? Wake up, because I don't think that this situation is getting better despite your efforts. And so going through this doorway seems like it's the choice for you. Okay? And what it does is it leaves the old universe behind and gives you a blank slate, gives you a sort of a new universe that you get to create. So it is walking away from something. It is closure. It is saying, okay, I'm done with something here. Okay? It's a daring move. It's a bold move, because it's kind of like you're burning a bridge. Yeah, burning a bridge. It's your choice. And it's either continue in this pattern of anxiety that's here, okay, that's slowly building up tension through these individual moments that keep happening, that are building up this tension. You can either stay here, because remember, the 8 is a figure 8. It's a loop. It's a pattern. All the 8s are patterns. And so it really is kind of saying that, you know, if we do nothing, if we don't go through this doorway and make this really bold choice, we're going to stay here in this conflict energy. It's going to repeat itself. Okay? It's going to repeat itself. I think you're somebody that typically tries to use, like, humor and love and compassion to kind of, you know, diffuse a situation. And I feel like you've exhausted those things. Now, your general energy, the 6 of Cups. People see you as somebody who is really, I think, likes to be in harmony, let's say. I don't want to say passive, but you're somebody that kind of like, you can put up with a lot. I think it takes a lot of pushing to make you mad. Maybe there was a time in your life where you had a really, like, hair trigger, and that you had a short fuse, you know, and you would just get mad at the littlest things. I feel like you're learning how to really tolerate things and how to put up with a lot of things, letting the little things roll off your back, you know, for the sake of the greater picture, for the sake of the community, for the sake of the family, for the sake of the peace and the tranquility. You'll put up with those little passive-aggressive comments and all the little things, because they're just not that serious. It's just a little thing. Who cares? It's not worth upsetting the balance or the family or the harmony, right? Where's the line? This is wonderful energy to have. This is your persona. Okay? This is your persona. People see, oh, Aries, so peaceful, you know, so loving, so accepting, so tolerant, so patient, and so willing to just kind of take, like, it. You can do anything to Aries and they just don't get mad right now. Well, I think that kind of is, I don't know, I think that's a mistake, you know? And I don't think that's true about Aries. I think that's what some people maybe see when they look at you, particularly, okay? But the way you see yourself is you're friggin' mad, and you're not going to put up with this anymore. And something here needs to stop. This is your subjective perception of yourself, right? And this is the more objective. This is the way other people might see you. Like if I were to look at you, I say, well, you're very nice. You're smiling. You're very friendly. You're being very generous and very gracious. This person's treating you like crap, and you're like, you're trying your very best to still show them love, and that really is a wonderful quality. That's that's a beautiful way to be. But it needs to stop. Okay, there needs to be a boundary. That's all. There needs to be a boundary. And the magician here in the environment, this is the shadow sometimes. This is sometimes what you avoid. Okay? And sometimes this is somebody who is really speaking their mind, voicing their opinion. Okay? This is somebody that can shapeshift. Okay? Somebody says, yeah, I'm nice, I'm tolerant, I'm pretty quiet and chill, but you set me off, and well, you can become what you need to become to respond to any given situation. Okay? So I feel like, again, you're not somebody that's avoiding conflict. I feel like you try your very best not to get involved in conflict. But the magician is saying that you can respond to a situation exactly how you need to. You can shift your energy. You can be all smiles and warmth and hugs and all that stuff, or you can be fierce and you can say, no, I'm out of here, or no, there's the door. Maybe this is you showing them the door. Maybe this is you saying, look, you've eaten out of my refrigerator long enough. I've put up with you long enough. It's time to hit the road. It's time to get on down the road. Maybe this is literally like you're showing this older female energy the door, or whoever's represented by this, this old queen here, okay? Whoever's being represented. It doesn't have to necessarily be a person. It feels like it probably is, but either way, you're showing it the door. And I wonder if that's kind of like it's either you leave or they leave. Things can't continue the way they have been. That's the bottom line, okay? And the magician has the plan, can have the strategy, can take charge, can use the wand and use their magic and say, this right now is kind of a stalemate. This is like something is blocking the magic from happening. Something's blocking you from building the life you want to build. And so the magician has to take that fact and do something with it. Can't do nothing. That's all you know right now, is that you can't do nothing. Can't just sit still. The magician is also the one who is infinitely adaptable. And it's telling me that in this situation with this person, you have changed your shape to fit that person. That you have bent over backwards to accommodate what they wanted, what they need, and what their energy was. Maybe you've been walking on eggshells. Maybe you've been really going out of your way to make sure that they stay happy and calm and they don't cause a big problem, right? Just because you can adapt to someone else's energy or to a situation does not mean you should. And that, I think, is a lesson for every magic maker. We don't always have to just take the situation we're in and say, okay, this is what Spirit's given me. These are the materials that I have to use, and I got to try to make the best of it. You could make the best of it. I think you have been making the best of this situation. But that's not really possible anymore. And that's okay. Okay? If you're feeling mad and frustrated and kind of cornered even, or diminished, or you're feeling, let's say, invisible, you don't have to just smile and say, yes, thank you, may I have another. Okay? But the Knight of Wands here, in the Mirage, see, this is the shadow, right? The magician is in the shadow position, because it's basically saying that you need to bring your magician out of the shadow, okay, and use it. You need to activate your magician energy, okay? This is the illusion, the mirage, the fear that flickers, right? Because this is ultimately saying that your obstacle isn't even real, has no actual power over you. because you can always take a leap forward, take a leap through that doorway. You're not powerless. You're not invisible. You're not just a mist that can't have any effect on any material objects. You know what I mean? You can get on your horse and leap. You can go boldly forward. I think there is a very bold decision, very bold move, a daring move that you're making right now. And I think you're going to find a lot more allies once you do this. Okay. Maybe there are other people that are feeling the same way you are, but they're kind of like, once you make a move, they're going to be inspired to kind of follow you or go with you or to at least like speak up that they feel the same way. Okay. This is something that needs to be finished. And this is you not hesitating, not shying away. The mirage, the illusion is that you're powerless. Because that's the lie. The lie is that you can't, at any moment you want, change something. You can snap your fingers, the rabbit comes out of the hat. Okay? Of course, it's a little more complicated than that, but you have the power to begin that process and go through this doorway and put an end, to let there be an ending here. Okay? By you, if you need to, go somewhere else. Do something else. The Destiny card, the Knight of Pentacles. This is what wants to happen. This is the page waiting to be written in the codex. You've gone through the doorway. The past is done. The future is a wide open vista. Now you can see the vision of the future. Who are you? Where are you? And what are you doing down the road? Now you get to create that. If you can't overcome this obstacle, you go around it. You find a detour, you take a different route. You don't have to just sit there and be stuck in that situation or relationship or whatever it is. If something is blocking your progress, they're not anymore. Okay? And so this is you standing at that threshold and looking. It's like you've gone through the doorway and you're standing just on the other side of it and you're looking at that wide open field and thinking, wow, okay, I can work with this. Now I can build. What's coming next? Feels like we're kind of at the end of the movie. The credits are going to roll any second. And the hero of the story finally gets out of the conflict situation and is just looking at the future and just like in a kind of hopeful and calm way. Because now you see a different future for yourself. I feel like when you're here, you can't see the future. All you can see is the past road that led you to this situation. You can't see anything beyond this. But going through that doorway, making this decision, putting an end, closing the door on that, then your whole future opens up to you. This is a major shift. This is a fated moment. This is serious. Okay. What I want you to do as a little practice homework, come up with several ideas. Maybe that's 3. Come up with 3 ideas. Okay? 3 creative ideas that could solve this problem. Okay? Then start taking action on the best one out of those 3. Or 5 or 8 or whatever you want to do. But 3. 3 ideas and take 1 action. Whether it's, looking for other jobs, whether it is looking for other apartments, whether it is, and maybe this is like, you setting some things up for yourself first so that when you do go through that doorway and make that bridge burn kind of decision, you already have something set up for yourself, okay? You don't just have to, rush off with nothing. It's saying kind of like, let's make sure we're doing this smart. Let's make sure we're prepared. Okay, let's look at the mystery card. and see, what are we looking at here? 10 of Pentacles. I think that would be nice. Might be the Wheel of Fortune. It might be a card of an ending. It might be another Queen. Might be another Death card. I kind of feel like a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles, though. If you have a prediction, I want you to put it in the comment section below the video. Let's see what we have. A King of Cups. That's good, because this is a fixed water energy. Okay? And this is a card of authenticity. This is a card that says your true self, your inner truth, your authentic self has been in a very hostile environment. You've been in a situation that really has been testing your patience, that's been testing your will, and has been squeezing you and squeezing you and squeezing you as much as it could. And, well, you survived, and now you are making a very intentional change. That energy is shifting now. The king is the air energy, so the air of water, right? I feel like this is a bubble of air in a vast ocean. And that little bubble is trying its very best to survive in a very hostile environment. The ocean is very hostile to one little bubble of air. And that's your belief, that's your truth, that's who you are. And in this situation, that is, maybe trying to squeeze you out, trying to like assimilate you, trying to even push you away and say you don't belong here, trying to make you feel like you are the odd thing, the odd one out. I feel like you are you're not going to compromise who you are in order to fit into this situation or to appease this person. I feel like you're maintaining your inner truth. You're going to stay true to yourself, even if it means that you have to leave the situation or you have to ask them to leave. But you're not going to become like them, in other words, right? I think that it's kind of like, in a way, two people that spend a lot of time together, they end up taking on the kind of emotional frequency of each other. You know what I mean? And so you hang around with people that are angry and passive aggressive or that whatever you want to say about this person. And then we kind of find that we're inadvertently taking on some of those qualities too. So I feel like you're getting out of a situation before you find that you have changed too much into someone that you don't want to be. Okay. Anyway, this transmission will continue beyond the gate. In the extended reading, we'll cast an I Ching hexagram, we'll draw from the oracles, and we'll open a new cluster of keys from the codex. If you feel called to continue, the path is open. There's a link in the corner here. There's a link in the video description. New transmissions for Aries on Wednesdays and Sundays, so be sure to receive both. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It aligns your signal with the dove current and ensures your next page in the codex will find you. Leave a comment and let me know where along the spiral road you're watching from. It helps us map the resonance of the temple. I want you to remember you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. The codex reveals itself through you. I thank you and I love you, and we are all walking this path together.